Welcome to Behind Cleveland, a community-powered digital media platform dedicated to uncovering the heart and soul of Cleveland. Real stories from real people, amplifying voices, places, and spaces. And step outside the city limits with Beyond Cleveland, bringing you stories from around the nation. Tune in to discover and explore as we take you behind.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Beyond Cleveland, a Behind Cleveland production. And that brings you some really amazing stories from the Northeast Ohio region and beyond. My name is Damien Lamar, and today we have a special guest who influences far reach beyond the city limits in just one single city. Her name is Charente Carr. She is a Cornell graduate. She has navigated echelons of corporate America, holding leadership roles such at Google, YouTube, MGM. She's a Workday consultant, and her story isn't about necessarily climbing the corporate ladder, but Charente's come this sought after powerhouse, assuming a following of over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. She's the kind of person that seamlessly been this deep industry knowledge with this genuine passion and this bubbliness and this effervescence that just jumps off the screen. And she has this amazing ability to help startups and individuals unlock their potential. And today we will be sitting down for a little bit of a deep dive with her and discussing her fantastical journey, as well as exploring insights on tech, social media, and what it takes to be a thriving, unique artist and entrepreneur in this digital age. Welcome, Charente Carr. Happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I love being everyone's abundant bestie because I be doing the most, and I know I do. But I do it to let people know that they are multifaceted and they are totally allowed to be their unique, multi-passionate self too.
Well, I mean, speaking of being multi-passionate, Charente, I mean, you have a very impressive resume that reads from like the who's who of Fortune 500 companies, such as I mentioned Google, YouTube, MGM, Workday, to name a few. But before you like dived and like spent a lot of time in the corporate world, let's start with you. Like, what was it? What was young Charente like? What did you see yourself? Did you always see yourself sitting where you are today?
So I have this nickname that my family has coined since I was 2 years old, and that was chairman of the board. I've had this very big title since 2 years old, and I said, how do I live up to that? And the answer for me was self-mastery and taking the time to research, develop, execute, and then teach from my lived experience. And that's something that my mom like literally grounded into me as I'll say child to pubescent to young adult to the woman that I am today. And something that I can say is that I had a very, I would say, trauma-filled childhood, like a lot of other people. I know I'm not like a special person. We all experience some type of trauma. For me, it was trauma when it came to my health and my skin and my perspective about if I'm beautiful or not, because I had surgery scars going in and out in high school to experiencing homelessness when everyone thought everything was together with me because I was on the track to go to college early. But with me getting sick, things took a turn. And there was a point where a lot of teenagers wrestle with, should I still be in existence or should I not be? And I told someone at school. They proceeded to then tell the counselor. The counselor then proceeded to call my mom. And then I had to get a mental evaluation at UCI to make sure that I was not truly going to unalive myself. And my mom, being the marriage and family therapist she staged an intervention with my family members coming to support me and remind me how important I am. And that's not a decision to make, nothing permanent for a temporary situation. And so my sister said, I'd rather you write than anything. So what did I do? I picked up my pen and I started wielding it for poetry. And then I was like, I'm going to go beyond that. I'm going to write stories. So I started writing short stories and building community online that way. And that's when I actually first started my YouTube channel at 14. Is I was in the library in Menifee, aka Sun City, and I rented a laptop with a webcam, and I started bridging community that way because I was like, there's a purpose for me being able to write, and there's a purpose like for the fact that people can feel and they can learn through my writings. And so that's how Young Charente started. In addition to that, I was also a children's minister and figuring out different ways to engage the kids in the Word of God. I can say that that journey was about, oh my gosh, 14 years of my life. And I've nannied 16 years of my life. So pretty much the majority of my life. And it's only because I loved kids. I loved tutoring. I loved being of service. I loved volunteering. That is like something that you can always catch Charente doing, especially as a teen, was volunteering somewhere. Whether I was feeding the homeless or whether I was recycling bottles or whether I was going to school to help somebody out when it came to band or their relationship issues, I was there to nurture and to help. But also I was finishing my schoolwork and classes, so I could have all this extra time to do all these extra things because school always came first for my mom. We could only get one C per semester. That means 2 C's per year. That is it. That is all, nothing else. And so with that being said, I had to make sure I studied. I had to make sure I went to, I would say I studied on the weekend. Okay. I walked in the boondocks of the morning at 7 a.m. to go study algebra. And it's over a mile just because of the fact that I wanted great grades. I didn't want just subpar. I wanted to see what I really could do. So that's just a little bit about me and my childhood.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I mean, based on what you mentioned, it sounds like you had obviously lots of challenges, but you were resilient is the key theme in your driver. That's what led you to be the person you are. And of course, you being this servant. Let's talk about that for a second. Having a servant mentality, like what is that like in settings, in corporate settings, for instance, when you worked in Google or you work as a Workday consultant? How is that servant mentality? Does that fit into the corporate model?
So the servant leader mentality, when it comes to it, a servant leader knows what it means to start from the bottom, go to the top, and not lose yourself. And I always wanted to be that type of leader. I saw what I'll say dictatorships look like. Sorry, I say the D word, but I saw what they looked like and they weren't good. They were toxic and people were not very happy. And I always wanted to be in a place and space where people felt loved by just being around me. So if that means that I would go into my self-sabotage, because we all self-sabotage, go into my people pleaser mode, I would do what I have to do. I would make sure it got done. And I can even say in my most recent project, I became the lead trainer because the other trainer could not perform. Furthermore, they had me do more of the work than her, but I wanted to make sure that they went from red to green because they were about to release Workday. And I needed to make sure that I wasn't going to be part of a failure implementation. I don't believe in failing. I believe in success and I believe in green and I believe in all those things. So I went above, I went beyond, and I can say for sure that they had historic numbers even when it came to their performance. They went from 6% of people actually getting it completed, and I trained over 11,000 people myself. It went to 76% completed it within 1.5 weeks. So I knew that what I did was the right mentality. I knew that by me humbling myself to realize I'll do whatever needs to be done to make sure that this project is successful. That mentality made sure that they were better off without me than with me, because I already pre-established everything that they needed to have so that they can stay successful even after my exiting. And I can also say that being a servant leader and having this mentality, people are a lot more like open to coming and talking to you about what's going on in their lives and how they feel like they're failing. And just for you to remind them, you're not failing, you are enough and you are human and this happens. And all we can do is get better after each circumstance. We have to choose to respond differently to get something different. So I can say that, yes, it's the servant leader mentality, but I do it because of the fact that I want people to realize that you can start from the bottom, you can work your way above, and you are your own limitation. You are your own limitation. And the thing is that I started doing audio work when I was 8 years old because of church. That's what I mean. I've been literally learning since I was a child, because I was like, I can learn from you. I can learn from you. Everybody I can learn from. So let me learn from this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. And by me learning, I have an amalgamation of a lot of knowledge in a lot of different industries that a lot of people can't say that they know. And I'm saying, I know I'm saying that from a place of love and not from a place of, I'm going to brag. No, I have been in the trenches. I understand the trenches, but I also understand being outside the trenches, looking at the trench and making sure that you plan accordingly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. So let's talking about the trenches for a second. So you've worked obviously in tech, you worked a little bit in HR, you worked in marketing. I mean, that's a pretty diverse skill set. Do you see of those industries, how do you see those areas intersecting, especially like in today's digital world?
So tech HR, I'll say tech HR and marketing. I will say this is that, so there's this one company, oh my gosh, I'm literally going to have to pull their name out of a hat. I believe is ScarUp. They literally have a company where this is a marketing company, but it's a marketing tech company. And it allows for brands to be able to use real research-backed, triple verified information to be able to make their marketing campaigns even better. And the reason why I say like this is a mixture of everything is because of the fact that because you're being clear and you are being kind, that is the whole point of human resources, is providing resources to individuals to make their employee life a lot easier. Same concept when it comes to software. It's going to make the brand's lives a whole lot easier, but it is technically a marketing tool, but it's also tech, and it does integrate AI. And that's why I'm like, so there are brands that are literally B2B, okay, business to business, that are literally making it a lot easier to be a business. There's even, I would say, ERPs like Zoho that allows you to do the accounting, marketing, and everything that you need to do in between. So when I say there's like an intersection, there really is. I even went to this recent fintech, I will say, dinner where they were showing us their software and how their software was actually able to make it a lot easier for accounting, spending, and the whole marketing budgets because of how they have things set up. And a majority of the stuff that they use is free. So it's not like you have to go $10,000, $20,000, $1 million like the Workday implementation and bring something about. Exact same when it came to Zoho because of how expensive it is. So I would say that there are softwares out there that are doing it. But from my perspective, why this is so pivotal is because continuity of care. That's not just for the medical field. That is also for the other operation side of stuff, is that if we can get continuity of everything and we can understand what's going on with the entire organization, we can make a better marketing plan. Because now we have tech that's going to help us accomplish what we need to bridge the gap for the employees that we are serving. So it's literally it's an all-way integration. And I'll even say this is that whenever I'm working for a company, I always figure out their marketing. And the reason I figure out their marketing is because I tailor their trainings and job aids to their marketing brand. Like Dutch Bros, they're fun, they're loving. So I'm making a whole bunch of coffee puns because that is going to literally bridge the gap with the employees, as opposed to me recently doing an insurance project. And that's a little bit more business professional and formal talk. So I'm not going to do as many jokes and coffee puns because that is not welcome there.
That's not the audience. Yeah.
Branding is so important when it comes to the HR and it comes to the tech, because the tech is also how you are interfacing with the UI. Is this actually based off our marketing? And one thing I like about Workday and that they're updating more and more is that they're adding where companies can add even more branding when it comes to their offer letters and different things that they're seeing when they're interacting with the system, because that is super important too before brand awareness. So when you say that, it is so important, because how companies miss the mark a lot of the times is they fail to think about their marketing when they're creating resources for their employees, and they fail to also use technology to make their lives 20 times easier.
Interesting. Well, wow. I mean, having your skill set and your time, obviously, in all these different industries, you've seen the evolution of these companies from the inside. And from that perspective, what would you say would be your biggest challenge of what you saw occur with the time that you were there?
Honestly, it all goes back to there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There are too many cooks in the kitchen. A lot of times people get to, especially companies get to a bottleneck because there's too many approvals. So what do after they implement Workday? They have to go in and revamp everything all over again because they didn't think about this when they were moving from one system to the other. And that's like to me, that's a failure on their part, because now they're spending $100,000 to get their system revamped. That's minimum. That's minimum to get their system revamped, and they could already had it done if they did it appropriately and they hired the appropriate people and they made sure that the consulting company wasn't going to stiff them. Because majority of the times, the consulting company makes sure that they give you only the base. They don't even try to make sure that your marketing is up to date. You literally have to advocate for yourself to make sure that the consulting company actually does their job. And I know that sounds so wild, but there's been multiple times where that has happened. And there are big name companies, one that starts with an A, I'm not going to say their name, that literally makes sure that the company cannot succeed without the additional support. And for me, that's why when I come in, I do my best to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because to me, why waste money? Why waste time when we don't have to? And it can be as perfect as it needs to be starting out the gate. Because how does the adoption really work? Making sure the company and the employees buy in as soon as you can. Because the more employees that don't buy in, the harder it is to train them on the software.
Wow. That's important. And I think, obviously a lot of industries sort of kind of glaze over that. But let's, I want to kind of take a little bit of a deviation here, because your resume is pretty impressive, and so is your social media presence. You have over 500,000 followers, Charente. That's pretty incredible. Like, how did you get this massive following? What did you do?
Smart goals. And you're like, what? Smart goals.
Smart goals. Okay.
People make New Year's resolutions. I make New Year goals, and I stick to my goals. So last year, my goal, can't make this up, was only to get to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's all I wanted. And then for TikTok, I just wanted to, I think it was 10,000 followers, because I wanted to be able to do TikTok shop. And then for Instagram, I just honestly wanted more than 800 followers. I'm going to be very transparent. So I made these all my goals, and then I took it based off what did I think would be easier to accomplish first, then move on to the harder one. So the first one was, let's work on TikTok shop. And that's what I did. I figured out different strategies to increase my engagement, as well as get more followers to come in. Yes, there are viral moments that get people to, of course, follow, subscribe, all the things. But for me, it's about making content that engages and that is like from your friend. Like, you have an online friend, even if you don't have a friend that you have in real life kind of thing. So there was that. And then I'm forgetting my whole point. This is what happens when my brain is processing 5 things at one time. That's the only crux I'll say about being a multi-passionate is your brain starts doing 5 different dances, and you're like, yeah. I was trying to focus on the jig. Now we're jiving and I am confused.
We're talking about these massive, these followers that you have amassed. Okay. How did you do it? From 100,000 to now almost 250,000. Well, actually 500,000 followers.
Yeah,
so growing.
Okay, now I'm back, because I was I lose myself, and I was I did a lot last year, because for me it was also about I wanted to work with 15 brands. So I had a lot of major goals, because these are things that to me were scary, very, very scary. Because I was there's no way that many people that are strangers are going to support me. There is no way. The negative thing was thinking, but I also realized that if I do the exact same thing, I'm not going to see different results. So I have to try, I have to experiment, and I have to hire assistants if I want to go faster. So I discovered Creator Life a little while ago. I've been following this particular person, and I'm all about checking receipts and social proof and not stalking, but lurking to make sure that I'm making the best decision, because I'm about to spend some thousands of dollars. And I've done this before, where I spent thousands of dollars and the person couldn't deliver, and I had to do a chargeback. So I scoped, I paid attention, and then I decided, hey, she said she's going to raise her price. Let me go ahead and book 2 sessions with her before she does that, because she means what she says. So I decided to book beginning of January and then the middle of the year. And when we meet, she said, "Oh yeah, you can make that. That's easy." And I said, "Huh? How's that easy, ma'am? 100,000 subscribers on YouTube? Granddad? Really? Okay, sure. I believe it." So I start implementing the strategies that are currently being pushed at that time by YouTube, which at that time it was shorts and remixes specifically. And I started doing that, and I also am still posting my own original content at the exact same time, doing my own shorts, doing my own long forms, live streaming at least 3 times a week. I was doing crazy numbers, 112 shorts a month kind of thing. And then I started using community post. So when I say I only wanted 100,000, I only wanted 100,000. and I wanted to be fully monetized. Those are like my two major goals for YouTube. So in January, this is like around VidCon time, I see that I have two videos that are going crazy with engagement. I'm just like, oh my God, it's happening. And I was like, because of me learning about other people, I'm like, you have to stay on the momentum. So you got to keep pushing out content. This is not the time to stop. You got to keep going. So I did. And while I'm at VidCon, I'm about to go into the YouTube room, and I looked down at my numbers and it said, you are fully monetized. And I was like, huh? What do you mean I'm
While
fully
you're at VidCon.
monetized? Yes. And it literally was like it literally was a 1 week period of Charente's not. And then I was. And it was like, what? And mind you, this is also me blowing completely past the 100,000 subscribers too at the same time. And I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, what is going on? Mind you, I have one short where I made 217,000 subscribers. One short. One short.
Whoa.
And that short, I think, is like 30 seconds. Mm-hmm.
So what was the secret ingredient from that one short? What made that short so special?
Honestly, it was finding so I have a lot of kids in my audience. That short that I did a remix to was very kid friendly, and also pulled in Pokemon, which was a lot of fun too. And then it was also trending. So something that I look at is to see that the video is trending and it has millions of views prior to me actually jumping on it, or it has like 600,000 views in the last 7 days. After I confirm that, and I confirm that it's with what my audience will actually want to see, I go ahead and record the remix. And in that case, like I said, he was just opening like an advent calendar box. Mind you, because he said that, I was like, I actually made like a mini advent calendar that I haven't yet debuted on my channel yet, to actually open up different boxes to show, hey, this is what's in this box, or this might be in this box. What box do you think it is? Like stuff like that. I will say gamification is a really big thing that a lot of people are sleeping on. That's why Temu is so popular. Okay, they get you with that gamification inside their platform a lot of the time. Same thing
they
with
do.
Wish.
As soon as you open the app,
that spinning wheel, they get you right away, because they know games, people will love to stick around because it's like cathartic to the mind. It's cathartic. So I will say that's what I did. And I will also say like 500,000 happened, I think, in like October of last year. I actually tracked all my progress on Threads, because I wrote all my goals on Threads, and then I actually was giving progress updates saying, this is what I'm going to do this month, and then actually showing the receipts of me getting the thing done. And I can also say is that a lot of people, when they first get monetized, don't make much money. I can say every single month that I've been monetized since last June, I have cashed out every single month, and you have to have at least $100 to cash out every month. So I'm making above $100. Do I want to make even more? Yes. But that will take me actually learning and crafting better long form that people will stick around to watch all the way through. Because at the end of the day, people think that it's shorts that gets the money. No, it's long form. How you think Mr. Beast is able to support himself and be having $4 million months is because of the fact that he gets people to watch from start to finish. And he understands where to add the challenges and the twist to make sure that he is keeping the person hooked in, besides adding the hook at the beginning and adding sub hooks in the middle to see which hook actually like sticks to what's actually going on with his content. So there's that too. So it's a lot of, like I said, a lot of different factors, and then also doing research. So Pinterest trends, Google trends, Answer the Public, YouTube Studio, trending inspiration section. Like it was a lot. When I say like, this was work. It was work, but it paid off so well.
I was like, it. Yeah. Question. So obviously you've been doing the work. There's no doubt about it. You have the receipts. You've mentioned that a couple of times. What's your advice for someone looking to build their own personal brand and their personal presence online?
People say ninjas get riches, but I believe that is going to be more of a stop point. And what I mean by that is people are sick and tired of one person just doing one thing and they're not doing anything else. They want people just to be their authentic self. And I'm very transparent. We are not, none of us are one-trick ponies. We have multiple hobbies and multiple passions. And if we can, I will say, showcase that and show our human side, people are more willing to actually be invested in your story, because now you're a person, you're not just a business. And that's where a lot of businesses fail. They fail to humanize themselves. So I want people that are listening to this to know, when they're building their personal brand, think about your ethics, think about your morals, Think about what is okay for you versus what's not okay for you. Think about terms and conditions and monetization guidelines across these social media platforms in regards to what you're going to be okay with versus what you're not going to be okay with. Like on my platform, I'm almost 100% brand family. So what does that mean? I don't talk religion. I do not talk about, I would say, I don't talk about the other D word with the S at the end. I don't talk about the S word. I don't talk about the V word. I don't talk about none of those things on my channel. And if I do, it's to the point where I am talking about it from a place of we're going to heal this. We're not going to get stuck in this kind of thing. And I'm mindful about how I also say it, because a lot of the times when people are building their personal brand, they want to get to the viral point, but they're not ready for the virality, because virality actually brings more weight because more eyes now are on you. If you've been doing some shady things in the dark, they will come to light. So I will also say, be a person of integrity and of honor, because the thing is that those things will eventually come out. So if you are truly a nasty person on the inside, that nastiness will eventually come out. I have met influencers that they are hunky-dory, so kind and so bubbly on the platforms, but as soon as you meet them, you're like, who possessed your body? I have questions. I'm concerned. Are you okay? But this is the exact same person. Their personal brand says one thing and their human self says something completely different. And I will say, make sure you don't think the funk. So if you have more about, say, a prudish attitude, capitalize on it, because people want to see you, not the curated, perfect version, societally okay version of you. They want to see the real version of you. So give them that, and also make it easy for them. So you're multi-passionate, make it easy. Put it in playlist. You can put playlist on your TikTok. You can put playlist on your YouTube channel. Same concept here. But remember, at the end of the day, you have to be yourself, and you also have to build a tough skin, because you're going to get people that hate their lives, and they're going to try to project that hate onto you, not realizing that me and you both know that that's on them alone, and they can stand on their own business there. We're not going to stand on their own business. We're not going to accept their business, because that's not our business, okay? And I can even say this really fast, just for those building their personal brand. When someone hates on you, that just means you're doing something right. And then two, say thank you, because them engaging with your content is pushing your content. And the thing is, I can honestly say is that I've had reply backs to my reply, and they're like, you're just so nice. I didn't mean to be so mean. Like, I'm sorry. Can we be friends? And I was like, yeah. But I also know, like, at the end of the day, it's not me. It's completely them. So I want you guys to realize that with great power comes great responsibility. But if you stay within your ethics, you stay within your morals, you stay in your alignment, you're going to be straight. You're going to have fun. And people are going to love you for you. Here, we got the hero. What's her name? Catch Me Outside girl. Okay.
Yes.
Alabama, the Alabama Parker stuff that's going on, but they're both standing in their own uniqueness. Uniqueness. And we know that they're completely on brand with what they are doing at the exact same time. But be mindful that publicity is not the best publicity, because it's controversy publicity. So my question for the person building their brand is, do you want to be involved with drama? Is that your personal brand? What is your personal brand? What company or what person have you liked when it came to their stuff? And how can you incorporate that with yourself?
Well, it sounds like you are an influencer, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. This is the role of an influencer. This was what got you where you are. With you being an influencer, what would you say some of the biggest misconceptions of, being an quote unquote influencer? We'll use that word loosely.
I got a story for y'all. So I'm in this private dinner. Okay, this is after VidCon. We're closing out, and I'm sitting down at this table that has, when I say influencers that got the millions, one corner had 10 million, just 3 people, one corner. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm here. This is happening. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. And mind you, this is like when I was still like 100-something thousand. So I was like, and so one of them walks up to me because I said, hey, because there was one person there that I heard her interview, and from me hearing her interview and implementing what she said, I got even more subscribers. So I thanked her from across the way, and I briefly shared about my success on YouTube. So one of them comes over, mind you, I looked this person up after the fact. He had 6.4 million subscribers, and he said, oh, and he's pretty much sounded like he was scared at the exact same time, and that he wasn't doing enough. And I was like, what do you mean you're not doing enough? Like, you have over 6 million subscribers on one platform. And mind you, this person has millions on each platform that they're on. Just want to make sure that we understand this. Like, this person has like about 10 million just across all of them. And I'm like, how do you not feel like you're enough? What? This doesn't even make any sense to me. Now I'm going to give you another story. Yeah. So I'm at another event and we're just living life, and I'm talking to another influencer, and they're like, I don't no longer want to be here. And I was like, what? What do you mean you no longer want to be here? It's like, I have a plan. And if I should go on this trip, I'm never coming back. And I'm like, what? I'm saying all this to say that smile might be just a lie that's just keeping them together because they're just trying to make it. You don't know what they actually experience. And I'm thankful that I'm my authentic self, because people come up to me and they'll share that hard moment with me. And I'll let them know, hey, baby, you fine. It's going to be okay. Better days are to come, but I know in this moment you're feeling this. So feel it. Be upset. Be whatever you got to be. It's going to be okay. So a lot of them deal with imposter syndrome. A lot of them deal with burnout. A lot of them deal with not feeling like they're enough, or that they're worthy, or why are people following or subscribing to me? I'm nobody. I can even say that. And one of my subscribers had to say, you have 500,000 subscribers. What you mean you're nobody? And I said, oh, my bad. Sometimes I forget myself. So we deal with things that we might not publicly always talk about. So I'm only saying that because a lot of people think that we have these perfect curated lives, and we don't. We do our best to show what brands like want us to show, and we just do our best that we can, and we'll put the smile on our face even if we want to just cry and be curled up in a ball.
Well, Charente, I mean, just talking to you, I hear, obviously, one, your passion for people, your genuine connection to wanting and your desire to help people. You just naturally just give out. You've been giving us breadcrumbs this whole time, all of these amazing gold nuggets. I mean, you are truly living the life of what a real influencer is, but you have your own personal brands. And I think like this would be a good time to kind of spotlight how you started I Matter, for instance, and Hey Bestie, that merch line. I mean, those graphics are beautiful. How did that come about?
So I was doing that blitz for live streams, and I actually started Besties Vibe Only. I put a post in a Facebook group and said I would love to collab and stuff like that. So the first person that I collab with, her name is Soda Online, aka I call her Holly because that's her real name. And she was like, I would love to interview you on my podcast. And I was like, and she's like, to do that, I will need a sketch of you because I animate everybody that comes onto my stage. And I was like, oh, okay. Wow. That's really cool. And so she does that, and I love her. I love this little cute little pic. And she did my braids too. I was so like, cute. Girl, you did your biggity. And I was like, I love this. And I was like, and I asked her, I was like, hey, can I put this on merch and stuff? And like, is that allowed? Is that okay? She's like, yeah, I gave you full rights when I gave it to you. And I was like, what? Thank you so much. So what did I do? I was like, let me think about one, I do affirmations. So what is something that people need to really know? I matter. They need to know that their existence, their story, their gems, their experiences all matter, and that their emotions mean something. So that's where the I matter came into the being. And then the Hey Bestie is, I'm just everybody's bestie. So I'm like, hey bestie, hey, and being silly and all the in-betweens. And I can even say this is that I do have a Halloween line. It's like Beautiful Brew is one of them. It's like really, really cute. Okay. And I'm able to change the outfits in Canva Magic Edit. I love it so much. And it's super simple. So that's how I was able to make my line. And then I also did a gratitude journal and a how are you doing today journal, because something that I do on Affirmation Station Show is venting gratitude. And I'm like, y'all should probably have a journal too, to help you when you're venting that gratitude and writing it down and making it plain and keeping it in one place and space. So I made different things for different people. And the reason I did a lot of tumblers is because my besties on YouTube love a good Stanley Cup. So that's why I did tumblers more than shirts and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I mean, you have had a vast, I really don't, there's so much that I could talk to you for hours, literally. But what's one of the most rewarding aspects of your consulting, your helping startups, you talking to someone and like encouraging them to keep going? What's like one of the most rewarding things that you've experienced since you've been doing that?
Honestly, the one that told me that they're no longer going to be here, they are really like, they're now doing, I would say, motivation talks, and they're actually documenting their journey. They're doing vlogs, and they're happy. And I am so thankful that they are coming to terms with themselves. And mind you, that me and this person had this conversation in November. We are now in March. And for them to be able to make that kind of progress in that time period is so profound. And I'm so thankful and grateful. And when they have moments, do they still call me? Yeah. Will I answer? Heck yeah. Because at the end of the day, I know what it feels like to feel like you're alone and that no one wants to, that you're a bother. So I will say that it was one of the most rewarding, besides someone walking in and be like, I knew you were here. I felt your energy. I felt it. I knew you were here. I just didn't know where I could place you. And that's my friend Todd. And I absolutely love Turn Up Vegan, but he's like, I know where you are. I felt you before I saw you. And then I saw you. I'm like, I knew she was here. And I'm like, I love you, sir.
That's that presence. You have that presence. Yes.
So those to me are the most rewarding things. And then also someone coming up to me saying, I actually subscribe to you. And I'm so thankful for all the knowledge and vulnerability that you have shared to remind me that I'm okay being myself. And to me, anytime someone can take themselves from being just a number to actually identifying themselves as a subscriber, to me, that's so major, because I don't like making people numbers. But with YouTube, they're just numbers. I don't ever know who really is subscribed to me. And so that person identifies themselves. And I'm like, you never know where you have people supporting you. You never know who is supporting you until they make it known. So those to me are like the most profound things. And I have cried and all the in-betweens, because I'm like, you don't know how you affect someone. Or most recently, I did bingo. They're like, bingo? Yes, bingo. Bingo for YouTube. I made a bingo board. I made it simple. I gave it to all my people, and 3 people completed it. And they said, Charente, I was actually able to get like 5 brand deals. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we do, bestie. That's what we do. So like, I know that I help change people's lives, and that right there. And then every time they come back and say that helped, like, it warms my heart, because I'm like, I do matter. I'm reinforcing that I do matter, and that people are confirming that I do matter. So that's what I can say.
I love it. I mean, you have, you are like my best friend. I feel like I can just hug you right now. I'm going to hug you and get some tea out of you at this point. So you are a tech expert. I mean, you're a technologist. You've been involved in tech. You know, at this point, you have a little bit of an eye on some exciting trends right now. Can you share what you know that maybe the public doesn't know about what's coming for social media, tech, AI? What's next? Any kind of predictions that you have?
We're going to have more kids shows moving forward, and we want to be mindful of those kids shows that are coming out with the ability to be able to animate through AI so easily. And the reason I say this is because we already have content with real life people lying to kids and teaching them how to lie. So I would say, yes, with great power comes great responsibility, but we need to be more mindful of our kids and what they're watching and what they're consuming. Because at least with TV, we used to have TV ratings and programming, number like records and all the things. We don't have that nowadays with social media. So being more vigilant of kids is going to be super, super mindful, because there's a lot of kids that they dream to be an influencer, but they don't know what it means to influence. They don't know what it means to heal. And so I would say that's something that I'm seeing, that, like I said, I love kids. I do. But it's also protect the babies. Make sure that they know what they're actually really asking for. Making sure that they know that. Yeah, watching them. Just being mindful of what they're looking at and engaging in. Like, I will say this, I have no hate towards individuals like Cooking with Kaya or anything like that. But also, why are kids watching that respectfully? That should be marked as 18 and over. Why do they have access to that? Why isn't there more parental controls? And then some parents are like, well, I can't do that. I'm like, well, Apple makes it easy. There are a lot of programs that make parental control super easy. So I would say being mindful about that, and also stop posting your kid online. And I say that because there's a lot of people that have nefarious mindsets that will take that AI image and put it in a adult only AI generator. And now your baby is something that they should have never been, because their photo should have never been online. So
Yeah.
I see, and that's like the cautionary part of it. The exciting part of it, though, is that there's going to be more holistic and mindful content out there for kids to be able to utilize stuff, and for the Miss Rachels of the world to exist, and the Jules TV and all the ones that have like the fun song and dancing. We're going to see more of that, because something that we're missing right now, Disney Channel is done. We're missing kid shows so bad.
Yeah.
And we can feel the ramifications of that. I still remember all the theme songs from all the shows I used to watch on PBS, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, but we don't have that nowadays. These channels have very adult themes, and I'm like, what happened to kid content? Like, where is that at?
Yeah.
So that's currently what I see for that. When it comes to influencing, I see more influencers being ratted out and being exposed for being liars. I also see that. I see brands stop working with them as well, and them being blacklisted from markets. I see that. I also see companies actually having true verified information before working with influencers to confirm if that person actually fits their brand holistically and not just based on a couple of posts.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. I see more research actually being done before bridging these partnerships together. Because yes, influencing is going to be is still on trajectory to be over $1 billion industry. At the exact same time, there are more and more softwares becoming checks and balances to ensure companies are getting scammed, because some of them are, straight up, some of them are. And then I also see the gifting market, I will say, declining, because there's a lot of companies that will gift products out, but the influencer would never actually do the actual video or the post. So I see that actually coming more to a halt, to actually verify the person, and then having more stringent contracts being signed. So I will say, from those multiple perspectives, that's what I see for the market.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Those very, very detailed forecasts. Obviously, you have your finger on the pulse there too. Or for Cleveland, for instance, Cleveland is thriving and has an amazing art scene right now, art and music scene. Where does art and music lie in this picture? And like, what do you see Cleveland potentially doing for the future?
So I have a friend that lives in Cleveland, and I love her to pieces. She's a playwright. So I see her actually adapting this to actually us actually taking the time to make it a film. And to actually, like, here, I'll say, give it the Tyler Perry treatment, but not the Tyler Perry treatment, if that makes any sense. You know how you went from like plays to movies? Same concept here, or then TV shows, like same concept. So I see more of that happening. I also see, when it comes to music, more independent artists blowing up. Like, there was someone, he's technically not a Cleveland native, but his name is Connor Price. Connor Price, he started doing skits and he started blowing up. People started following that he was doing skits, and now I'm seeing a lot more independent artists. And I love to see independence win over record labels. Just gonna be very transparent. I love it. I love it. So I see more of that. I've also been in community with other artists that are actually finally taking the time to actually publish their work appropriately, copyright their stuff, and actually like get it out there to the masses, and then build a social media strategy around sharing it. So I already see it, and I'm excited for more of it, because there are more people that are heroes than these few people that we keep seeing on repeat.
Yeah, I completely agree. Totally concur. And this will be our wrap. We're going to wrap this up, but I think you've talked about children a lot, and you talked about your passion for children and education. What would be one piece of advice that you would give your younger self? The younger Charente?
I would say it's okay to be a shapeshifter, but don't lose yourself in changing your shape. That's what I would say.
Well stated. Thank you. This has been an incredibly wonderful conversation, filled with like so much richness, so much to like digest upon. And I really appreciate you taking the time to share your journey, your expertise with us. So where can viewers find you online and learn more about all your work, Charente?
Absolutely. I make it easy. Head over to charentecarr.com or just type in Charente Carr in your Google search because you'll find me everywhere, bestie. I'm on Snapchat, I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on MSN. I have so many different ventures, it's kind of unreal. But you'll find me always under Charente Carr. I make it simple. You don't have to switch names, just Charente Carr everywhere that you go.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure speaking with you. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us, Cleveland. We will see you next time.